My name is Juliet Anderson. I'm 29 years old. 14 days before my wedding, my own father looked my fiancé dead in the eyes and said, "She's a liar. Always has been. She had a bastard child at 18 and tried to trap a man with it." My mother leaned in with venom and hissed, "Don't let this whore trap you too. She abandoned her own daughter like trash. She's rotten to the core." I sat there at the table, silent, while the two people who were supposed to love me tore my soul apart in front of the man I loved. I didn't defend myself. I didn't cry. I didn't run. Because what my parents didn't know was that my fiancé had already found her. He had spent the last 6 months quietly undoing everything they destroyed, and they had no idea she was walking into our rehearsal dinner. That night, everything they tried to bury came back to life, and everything they thought they controlled completely shattered. Before I go any further, if this story is already hitting you in the chest, please take a second to like and subscribe, and drop your location plus local time in the comments below. I love knowing where in the world you're listening from right now. I'm Juliet. This is the story of how my own parents tried to destroy my life, and how the daughter they forced me to give away came back to save it. Now, let's go back 3 years earlier to a hospital corridor when I saw him again for the first time in 8 years. December 20th, 2024. Ben proposed on the rooftop of his Cambridge apartment. It was freezing. The Charles River looked like glass under the city lights. He'd set up candles in mason jars because he knew I'd think it was cheesy and love it anyway. When he got down on one knee, he said, "I lost 8 years with you. I don't want to lose 8 more days." I said yes before he finished the sentence. The ring was a vintage sapphire, his grandmother's. She died when he was 12. He told me once that she was the only person in his family who understood him. "Family heirloom for the family we're building," he said. I should have known my parents would find a way to poison it. We set the wedding for March 29th, 2026. Old South Church for the ceremony, the Fairmont Copley for the reception. Classic Boston wedding. I sent out 128 invitations. My mother called the day after I mailed them. "White roses are so common, Juliet. What will the church ladies think?" I'd picked white roses because they were simple, because they didn't scream for attention, because I wanted the day to be about Ben and me, not about impressing Patricia Anderson's church friends. But I didn't say that. I just said, "I like white roses, Mom." She sighed like I'd personally disappointed her. "Well, it's your wedding," that phrase. "It's your wedding." She made it sound like a threat. Ben's family was different. His parents drove down from Vermont the week after we got engaged. His mother cried and hugged me for a full minute. His father shook Ben's hand and said, "You picked a good one, son." His sister Carolyn pulled me aside in the kitchen and said, "I'm so glad he found you again. He was lost without you." I didn't know what to say to that, because I'd been lost too. I handled most of the wedding planning alone. My mother offered to help, then criticized every choice. The venue was too modern, the menu was too simple, the invitations were too plain. I kept a seating chart on my desk. I must have revised it 20 times. Every version, I moved my parents' table farther from the head table. Final version, table 8. Near the exit. I told myself it was just wedding stress. Normal mother-daughter tension. I was wrong. Early March, my best friend Claire cornered me in the hospital break room. Claire's a nurse too. Pediatrics. She's known me since nursing school. She knows everything. She set down her coffee and said, "Your mom's been asking weird questions about you." "What kind of questions?" "How long have you and Ben been together? Have you dated much since nursing school? Does Ben know your history?" My stomach dropped. She said that? The history part? Not in those words. But she was fishing, Jules. Hard. I stared at my lukewarm tea. "She doesn't know about Lily." She can't. Claire's expression said otherwise. Maybe you should tell her before she finds out another way. There's nothing to find. Closed adoption means closed. No one knows where Lily is. Not even me. I believed that when I said it. 2 days later, my phone rang. It was my mother. "We need to talk about the wedding," she said. Her voice had that sugar-coated edge. "And about Benjamin." "What about him?" "We barely know him, sweetheart. Why don't you both come to dinner? Saturday, 6 o'clock. I'm making pot roast." It wasn't a request. It was a command wrapped in pleasantries. I almost said no. But refusing would have caused a scene. A guilt trip. Weeks of passive-aggressive comments. So I said yes. Ben was grocery shopping when she called. When he got back, I told him about the dinner invitation. His face didn't change. He just put his hand on my shoulder and said, "We'll go together." I hung up with a feeling I couldn't name. It felt like walking toward a trap I could see but couldn't avoid. Ben said we'd face it together. He had no idea what my parents were planning, but honestly, neither did they. A word about Grace Community Church. It's not what you'd expect when you hear New England church family drama. Grace isn't fire and brimstone evangelical. It's Episcopal. Progressive liturgy. Rainbow flags out front. Refugee sponsorship programs. The kind of place that believes in compassion over judgment, questions over certainty. My parents are relics. Old guard members who've been there 40 years, back when the church was more conservative. They stayed because of inertia, not because they agreed with the current direction. Most of the congregation now is young families, social workers, teachers, people who choose grace over shame. That distinction would matter later. Because when my parents tried to weaponize church opinion against me, they'd forget. This wasn't their church anymore. To understand what happened at that dinner, you need to understand what they were trying to protect. What they'd been hiding for 8 years. Fall 2013. I was 16, a junior at St. Catherine's. Ben was 18, a senior. We met in the library. He was sketching building designs for his architecture portfolio. I was supposed to be studying for calculus. I asked what he was drawing. He showed me. A house with wraparound porch, big windows, trees. "Future project," he said. "College assignment?" "No, someday project, when I have a family." He gave me that sketch on my 17th birthday. I still have it. It's in a box in my closet, folded along the same creases from when I used to carry it everywhere. We dated for 2 years. He went to MIT for architecture. I was planning on pre-med at Boston College. My mother tolerated the relationship. Barely. "He's too old for you, Juliet." 2 years isn't that much. But to her, it was proof I was making bad decisions. We were careful. We thought we were. December 2016. I was 18. Freshman year at BC. I missed my period. I took the test alone in my dorm bathroom. 2 lines. Positive. I stared at it for 20 minutes. I should have told Ben first. But I was scared. And stupid. And I thought my mother would help me figure it out. So I drove home that weekend and told her. I was crying. I said, "Mom, I'm pregnant. I don't know what to do." She didn't hug me, didn't ask if I was okay. Just said, very quietly, "You're going to fix this." Quietly. I knew what she meant. "I'm not getting an abortion." Her face went cold. "Then we'll handle it another way." That's when everything changed. That's when they took control. January 2017. My parents found out I was 2 months along. They pulled me out of Boston College, told the school I was taking medical leave for health issues. I spent the next 8 months locked in their house in Wellesley, technically homeschooled. Actually just sitting in my childhood bedroom, feeling her move inside me, trying to imagine a way out that didn't exist. They cut off all contact with Ben. Used my email to send him a breakup message. I think we should break up. This isn't working. He called. My mother answered my phone. Told him I didn't want to talk to him, that I needed space. He tried for 2 weeks. Then he stopped. I wanted to run. Every single day I planned it. But I was 18, pregnant, with no money and nowhere to go. My father made it clear. If you contact him, we cut you off. No college, no car, no phone. You'll have nothing. So I stayed, and I let them plan my daughter's disappearance. August 13th, 2017, 3:42 in the morning, Newton Wellesley Hospital. Labor took 16 hours. My mother and father were there. So was the adoption social worker, a woman in a gray suit with a clipboard and a sympathetic smile that didn't reach her eyes. I gave birth to a baby girl, 6 pounds, 8 ounces, dark hair, perfect. I asked to hold her. My mother said, "It's better if you don't. Clean break." The social worker nodded. "It's easier this way." But there was a nurse. Young, maybe 25. She looked at me, then at the baby, then back at me. She said, "I can give you a couple minutes." She placed my daughter on my chest. 90 seconds. That's all I got. I tried to memorize everything. The weight of her, the warmth. She had a tiny birthmark on her left shoulder, shaped like a crescent moon. I whispered, "I'm so sorry." Then my mother said, "That's enough." The nurse took her away. I was sobbing. Couldn't stop. Couldn't breathe. I asked, "What's her name?" "Please just tell me her name." The social worker said, "The adoptive family will name her." They offered me something to help me sleep. A sedative. I was so broken I said yes. When I woke up 6 hours later, she was already gone. In someone else's arms. In someone else's home. With someone else's name. And I didn't even get to say goodbye. August 14th, 2017. I signed the relinquishment papers. Closed adoption. No contact, no information, no updates. Ever. My mother stood over me while I signed. "You'll thank us when you're older," she said. I went home. Locked myself in my room for 3 weeks. Depression hit like a freight train. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't think about anything except those 90 seconds. My parents acted like it never happened. My mother converted the nursery we'd set up into a guest room within a week. "No point dwelling," she said. I started therapy in October 2017. My therapist was kind, patient. She told me, "You experienced